Hi everybody. So I'm sitting in front of my computer today, and I was just wanting to show off one of the things that I kind of discovered and did inside my Launchbox. So I have Launchbox open. If you're not familiar with Launchbox, it's a front end for pretty much anything really. A lot of people use it primarily for gaming, but you could launch media. For example, videos, or you can launch music or whatever, really. So you could actually use Launchbox for a lot of things. As you can see, I use it primarily for retro gaming. I have some of my different platform categories over here on the side. Well, the purpose of this video was to discuss launching Android games via Launchbox. I watched a YouTube video here recently, and on this particular person's channel, they were showing basically all the platforms they had set up in their Launchbox, and one of the platforms they had was Android. And I was kind of curious on how they actually got that to work. So I didn't see a whole lot of videos on it, not a whole lot of instructions on doing it as well. Not on the Launchbox, at least through some of the Google searches that I did, I didn't really see a whole lot. So I kind of sat out, and I actually have it pretty much working pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I have it configured. So right now I'm inside Launchbox. I'm going to go ahead and grab my game controller, because I actually have my Launchbox set up to work with my game controller. And the reason why I have that is because I also pay for the license for Launchbox, so I have the big box platform. I'm not going to show big box, I'm just going to show Launchbox. Launchbox, it's a free download. And so anywho, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to launch this pinball game right here, which is an Android app. And oh well, that's not there you go. That was weird. Okay. Anyways, the Android app is loading. Now, you can see I'm inside the Android game. And I'm just going to go ahead, and I got everything mapped out on my gamepad here. And I'm going to come in here and select a game. There we go, and I have this play button mapped to my start button.
Welcome to Halloween Pinball.
Yeah, turn this down some. So I have my, here's my launch, and move that arrow off the screen. And we're playing pinball. This is actually one of my pinball games that I like to play, and I believe it's available through Steam as well, but I actually already have it on Android, so it's like, well, why pay for something that I already have, right? So I don't know if there's a whole lot graphics details difference, but as you can see, it plays really nice, and the graphics are nice. So so I don't want to get into a whole lot of gameplay here, because that's not the purpose of this video. So I'm going to show you now. I have this set up to where I hit that key there, and it exits out back to Launchbox, and then you can come in and select your next game. So without further ado, I'm going to switch it over to the view over to the desktop, and I'll show you how I set this up. Okay, so as you can see, we're back where I was with Launchbox. So Very first thing you have to do, of course, is you have to have Launchbox, and you have to have Launchbox downloaded and installed. And if you're not familiar with Launchbox, this is the website you need to go to. And it's basically, you just come in here and Google search Launchbox. Now, to be able to download the application, you have to give them your email address. Don't worry about that. You're not going to get a ton of spam and junk like that. At least I never did, so I didn't worry about it. The next thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need an Android emulator. And the Android emulator I'm using is called Knox. And if you just search for Big Knox, or you go just search for Knox App Player, and then you can download the latest version. And the version I'm using is 6.2.6.1. Okay, so you're going to come in here and you're going to download, and you're just going to you're going to install that. Basically, I installed this in the same drive that I have Launchbox and everything, all my stuff installed, which I run on a USB hard drive, a portable USB hard drive. So to a certain degree, it's somewhat portable. I can actually move it from machine to machine. Launchbox is portable. It doesn't have to reside just on one machine, even though for the most part mine does. I run it on the USB hard drive because that's limited by disk space. Okay, so basically you get Knox installed. So I'm going to go ahead and fire this guy up. I had my one game running, and this is basically Knox. All right. So next thing you need to do is you come in with Knox and you install some games, right? So as you can see, I have my, I pulled down the, install some games. So I have like the pinball collection you just seen here. I have Angry Birds, and as soon as you click on something, it goes in and starts firing the game off. Just so you know, it takes a single click. And I got this game called Hawk. It's one of them I just put in here. And so the one I'm going to show you how to do is basically I'm going to take this game. It's Zakara. I don't know. Anyways, it's a pinball game. I'm going to put this and set it up in Launchbox. Okay. So another thing you need to know about with Knox is if you click here on Multiple Instance Manager, you can actually install like different versions of Android. And you can see the version I'm running right now. This is O, and it's Android 5.1.1. When you install Knox, it's native, and I think it's using like a 4.4 version of Android, which is pretty old. You want to upgrade that to at least 5, Android 5. It actually is stable. If you come in here and come in here and click Add Emulator, and you'll see you can install like a 7.1, which is pretty new version. But I've tried this. As you can see, I have this. I kept having issues with it with certain games, and it might be my computer, but it kept crashing on certain games, and some of the things I couldn't play. So 5.1.1 is pretty stable. And you notice how this has, this is a naming convention. This is Knox Player, and this is Knox Player 1. These are actually pretty important. So if you don't have this set as Knox Player and you're doing this as Knox Player 1, you're going to want to create a shortcut onto your desktop, because you need to know the platform name when you're setting up the actual command keys inside Launchbox. So if you're not using the default player, which this is the default, if you're just running straight out the Knox.exe executable, it's always going to fire off the default. Otherwise, you have to specify the platform.
So just so you know that. Okay. So without further ado, so you got your Knox installed and you're set up. The next thing you know you're going to want to have is ES File Explorer installed. And I'm just installing all of this stuff through the Play Store. So I actually went in and I set my Gmail account up here into the Play Store so I can download apps. So I'm going to go ahead and open up ES. And then I click on App. And I want to use Zaccaria. All right. And you see this package name? You want to get that copied down. So what I'm going to do is open up on the side here, I'm going to open up a notepad. And as you can see, I got, and you can't copy and paste it. I wish you could. But anyways, what I do is I just open up a notepad here. And as you can see, this is the ones I've done previously. And I just copy this out. HU.MAGIC pixel dot. And this is case sensitive. So make sure if it's got capital letters, you gotta do capital letters. And then you just copy it, make sure you got it right. Boom, boom. And there you go. All right. So you hit cancel here, and and at that point in time, we're done with ES File Explorer. And actually, at this point in time, we're done with Knox. So Knox, if you go in the settings here and you go to shortcut settings, you'll notice here these are different key-based settings. And this is important to know because this is how you actually, you're going to use these when you go to configure your game controller. And you can see this here, one key, it's called boss key. And boss key, as you can see, I have set to Control-Alt-Q. And another program I have, and I probably should have gave you, I'll have all the links for you, but another program you're going to need, let me open up my web browser, is a program called Joy2Key. And you're going to need to download this. It's a free program. And Joy2Key, what that does is it converts basically keyboard commands to joystick buttons. So like if I hit a button on my gamepad, it sends a keyboard command, and you're going to need that. And as you can see, I got Joy2Key running here in the background. And I don't have a whole lot configured in here right now, but I do have, as you can see here, button 7, Control-Alt-Q. And that essentially is what I have set to this boss key. So if you hit on your keyboard, you hit Control-Alt-Q, Control-Q, it basically minimizes, it more or less minimizes Knox and runs it in a low resource mode. So it's not eating up a lot of resources on your, so you can essentially keep Knox running all the time. And I recommend you do that so that way when you run the games from Launchbox, you ain't got this, I'm firing off another version of it. I thought I was. Anyways, so that way when you launch these games, you don't have to wait for the Knox player to load as well. Okay. So next step, you got your game, you got your, your game name, right? So we're coming in here. If this is the first time you're setting up Android, the first thing you need to do is you need to create the platform. So you just kind of, right click, add new platform, and then you go in here, add new platform, and you want to say yeah, and then you come in here and you add it as your Android and whatnot, and you put it under where you want it here. I happen to have my Android underneath handhelds. That's just what I chose. Now one of the annoying things about Launchbox is that basically when you create a new platform and there's no games underneath it, you don't see it here. It's actually hidden. So what you have to do is you have to add a game. And what I did was I just came in and I just said, you know, tools, and then I did import, and I did a ROM file and used the ROM wizard here. And then I did add file. And I went, found where I have my Knox install. And you know, that's the Knox install here. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to need this anyways. You find the Knox exe, right? And you hit next, and you just say importing into the Android platform, and then you follow through the process of getting that installed. So you're going to choose this, you know, whatever Android emulator. You're going to want to use files in existing locations. You say next, next. Download media from EMU. Yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not really going to find anything. And next, it's parsing file, blah, blah, blah. And then you hit finish, and it's going to go through. So you really only have to do this to get that first game inside the platform. So that way your platform shows up. And as you can see, it's not going to load for me, and I can tell you the reason why. Because if you open and edit any one of these games, you notice that here my application path is knox.exe. So essentially it sees the game as already loaded. And this is very important because one of the things you don't want to do in Launchbox with the Android platform is do what's called consolidate ROMs. Oh, don't do that, because what that's going to do is going to get rid of all your games and consolidate them into one. Because if you come in here and you hit edit, you'll notice that the application path is the same. It's basically the exact same thing each time. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a new one. So I'm just going to come in here. I just right click here anywhere, and I'm going to click add. All right, and that's all you need to do. And this is pinball, right? Platform is Android. You can sit here and you could search for it. 9 times out of 10, it's not going to find anything. Oh, hey, look, it did. Ooh, for Windows. Yeah, let's pull in it. All right, and so the ROM path, once again, you basically go to where you have Knox installed. You know, find your bin, and then find the knox.exe. This is going to be the same no matter what, knox.exe. All right, and this is key here. Even though you have to set this up to make everything work, you know, you don't use an emulator. You come back here to the launcher, and you type in .package and the package name. Which I have, and then you say okay. You say no whenever you get that. Alrighty, so, and as you can see, when I go back into 80 Angry Birds, it's the same thing, except for this one is com.blah blah blah Angry Birds. If I go into my Pinball HD, and then I hit that, it's package dot, and this is the package name, right? Okay, now if you want, and if it's available, since I was able to find this in the database, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to see if I can download some media, which hey, is kind of cool that I can. So I'm going to go ahead and download the media. Yeah, there we go. Always say no to that when it's asked for an emulator. Hey, there we go. Cool. Oh, there we go. Cool. All right. So now we can go ahead and test it out. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double click on this. There we go. We're firing off our game. Experience performance issues. Now, and then basically here, I'm just using my mouse. Here's one of the problems I see with running Android games through Launchbox. Launchbox, in my opinion, is intended so you use your gamepad, right? You know, to basically control things. At least that's, in my opinion, the purpose of it. You can use it just like this and run your games, you know. Like here, I can come in, I can select, I'll select Time Machine, and I'm going to click Load, and you know, you got your game, and say OK, right? And then you have to click Start. As you can see, I'm doing a lot of clicking, you know, so it's not really a game controller. Now, what I did do, though, is inside this game, I already come in here and I mapped. As you can see, I have some things mapped out. And basically what I did is here you got your left stick, you got your right stick, you got your key buttons, you got multiple strike if you need to add multiple strike. And then I mapped in some buttons. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save, right? So basically now I can come in here and I got my gamepad and, you know, boom, it did. Wow, that does. I haven't tried this one. Ugh. It's like it doesn't want to launch the ball. This is the other fun things about these Android platforms is you really don't know what you're going to get. Let me try that again. Because I actually played this, but I didn't play that particular table. Let's try this one. This is the one I tried. So anyways, this is the joys of, like I said, not sure on if the, yeah, there we go, see? Well, for some reason it doesn't want to launch. Huh. So let's tweak this up and see if we can make it work better. First off, let's see if we can put this up closer. And this is kind of cool. You get to see troubleshooting a little bit. Yeah, well, I got a little more oomph out of it. Yeah, it looks like it's pulling it back. Yeah, it just, you know, even if I do it with the yeah. Okay. So as you can see, still more tweaking to do here. And now I'm basically in the game. And I will admit, this particular Android app, you might be actually better off not running this game through Android. As you can see, the flippers are very laggy. And it just doesn't perform very well. Anywho. And then from here, I can basically hit my same one button I have configured up, and it's, you know, goes out and back to my Launchbox. So, long and short, that's how you get Android games running inside of Launchbox. I'm going to conclude this video basically saying, now that I have it working somewhat, you know, some games work a little bit better than others. I can tell you that much, especially with the gamepad mapping and some of the things you can do. And you could probably tweak this and get it a lot happier by using Joy to Key. Knox has, besides the gamepad commands that you can map inside the games, you can map in keyboard commands. They may work better. I haven't gone that far into it. But I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'll probably keep this in my launch box just for this one pinball game. um, and that might be about it, to tell you the truth, because some of these other things that I've tried in here, I haven't. I thought about trying some of the racing games and seeing how that works, but I'm not sure if this is worth anybody's time to actually do. Like I said, I've seen some people have the platform set up inside their launch box. I just don't know if it's really worth your time to mess with, to tell you the truth. I'm not sure how much I really. I think Launchbox is better towards arcade games, consoles, stuff like that, to where it's got a little bit better mapping to the gamepad. To tell you the truth, the Android games is a touch screen platform. It's designed for touch screens, and I'm not sure. Well, they have like little tricks you can do, like I said, gamepad mapping onto the screen where it simulates the touch and stuff like that. I just don't think it's very good. The bottom line is. So, anywho, that's gonna conclude this video, and I hope you found it entertaining and useful. If you could, click the like button and subscribe. I got some other videos I got planned on the way. As you can see here, I got pinball games mapped out here. So one of the things I'm going to be going over is setting up Visual Pinball X inside Launchbox. That's one of the things I'm going to be going over. That will be on my pinball channel. So if you want, if you're interested in pinball, subscribe to my pinball channel. If you're interested in model railroading, that's my other hobby, subscribe to the model railroading channel. So I'm going to plug all my channels. So either way, have a good day, and see you on the flip side.